full blossoming of springtime each year with that ancient national occasion, the Kentucky Derby. There may never have been such a Derby as today's. Never, perhaps, in the 103 previous runnings have there been so many stories, so many fascinating aspects. Seldom has there been such a quality field of 3-year-olds. And so the people have come from everywhere to the twin spires of Old Churchill Downs, the shrine of American horse racing. They have come an estimated 130,000 strong to see if it will be Alidar or Affirmed, Sensitive Prince or Believe It, or some long shot touched by destiny for one great race. Good afternoon. I'm Jim McKay, speaking to you from the winner's circle. Let's consider some of those stories. The favorite is Alidar from Calumet Farm. They've won more derbies than any other stable, 8 in all. But they haven't won in 10 years. They haven't even had a horse in the race in 7 years. They had fallen on lean times. But now there's new hope in Alidar. And Mrs. Markey, well into her 80s now, the owner of Calumet, may be hoping for one last hurrah. Then there is the second favorite, at the moment, Affirmed. His jockey, 18-year-old Steve Cawthon. Last year at 17, everybody's athlete of the year. But this is his first Kentucky Derby. Third favorite, Sensitive Prince. He's never been beaten in his life. And if you consider the career records of him, his sire, his grandsire, and his great-grandsire, who just happens to be native dancer, you'll find 38 wins in 40 starts. And then there's Believe It. A lot of people had sort of given up on him. He didn't look as good as they had hoped in Florida. However, in the Wood Memorial a couple of weeks ago, he looked outstanding, and he is the fourth favorite. And if you're looking for a long shot, you might try Darby Creek Road, a son of Roberto, an Epsom Derby winner, or Dr. Valeri. He paid $235.40 in winning the Tropical Derby last winter. Now let's take our first look at the odds board. Raymond Earl, ridden by the 57-year-old jockey Robert L. Baird, is held at least 99 to 1. The odds board doesn't go any higher than that. He is probably something over 100 to 1 in actuality. The number 2 horse, second favorite in the betting, that is Affirmed, ridden by Steve Cawthon at 9 to 5. Aesop's Foibles, winner of the Louisiana and Arkansas Derby, 6th choice in the betting at 45 to 1. Then we have Special Honor, Hoist the Silver, Chief of Dixieland, all 99 to 1 or better. Let's move then to Darby Creek Road, who is the 5th choice in the betting at 30 to 1. Dr. Valeri at 90 to 1. Believe It at 6 to 1. 6 to 1 is 4th choice in the betting. The favorite Alidar at 6 to 5, and Sensitive Prince, 3rd choice at the moment at 4 to 1. There are stories in this year's Derby. The trainers are a great story. Tremendous talent among them. In that order, Howard Cosell will be interviewing them here in just a moment in these tape interviews. From 32-year-old John Veach to 64-year-old Woody Stevens.
Laz, tell me in a nutshell how Affirmed will run this race.
Well, I'm in pole position number 2, and number 1 is a horse with speed, and outside number 11 is a Sensitive Prince. I think of these 2 horses, by the performance, I'm going to go to the lead. I'm going to lay 3rd behind them. And I'm going to stay there and wait to turn him for home. When I turn him for home, I'm going to try to go and try to get in the lead. It's 2 horses. By that time, I'm expecting to Alidar come, and that's what I want. My horse see Alidar coming, and we're going to see a hell of a derby.
Under the conditions, Laz, a key question has to be, how will Affirmed react to the sloppy track?
Well, Affirmed is used to that because we was in California the whole winter, and the only we saw was rain. We rained for 27 days, day and night, and he trained on that track, he run on that track, and I think he liked the mud.
Woody Stevens, as trainer of Believe It, tell me how will Believe It run this race?
I haven't studied the form yet, but I know there's big speed on the inside and outside. And my colt, he has speed if I want to use it, but I would prefer possibly to steady him early. But I don't believe if the track's muddy, he'll drop too far out of it. He's a good mud horse and loves to run in it, so I wouldn't be surprised to see my horse lay 3rd or 4th, maybe be in front of Affirmed early.
John, how will Alidar run the race?
Well, Howard, I think he'll run as he's run always before, coming from behind, laying off the pace, waiting for the least or the last possible moment, say at the head of the stretch, between the head 3/8 pole and the head of the stretch, and blow by everybody and go on to win his race.
John, what other factor is in Alidar's favor?
First of all, I think that our post position, the drawing of the post position, was certainly in our favor. Affirmed's down on the inside. He's right next to a speed horse. There are 2 or 3 other speed horses in the race with him. He's run speed all this year, going to the front in California in most of his races. And he'll have to go out there at the very beginning to get a good position, running into the first turn, so he doesn't get trapped down on the inside. Alidar's on the outside. He can wait, pick his own position, set himself up, and be in a good spot when he wants to make his final run. And I just think we can outduel Believe It.
John, Woody Stevens has emphasized that Believe It is a good mud horse, Laz Barrera says Affirmed can run on any kind of track. What about Aladar?
Track makes no difference to him. We were successful running in the Sapling on a very, very sloppy racetrack. Did Monmouth Park last year. We came back in the Champaign on a spotty, almost sloppy racetrack and beat Affirmed. So it makes no difference. We'll run them any place, anytime.
Alan, how is the Prince going to make his race?
Well, we think that if he breaks clean, he'll be real close to the pace coming down from the grandstand, and I expect the number 1 horse to be on the lead, and Affirmed and Sensitive Prince should be right along in there, maybe a couple of lengths off of him.
Alan, how will the Prince react to the mud?
Mud, he likes the mud. Last time he ran in the mud real well.
All right, the 4 trainers, the mud, of course, not presently an issue. The weather cleared. There had been terrible slop yesterday when we spoke to the 4 trainers. Eddie Arcaro, you heard the trainers say how they wanted their horses to run the race. How do you think this race will be run?
Well, I think Laz said it better than anybody. He really said that the number 1 horse, Raymond Pearl, will go out in front, but Mickey Solomon on Sensitive Prince on the outside is going to keep him out because he's going to try to rest him the first quarter of a mile. By the time he gets to the turn, he'll drop in. I have to believe that Affirmed will be laying 3rd in good position. Aladar should be no further back than 4th or 5th. Woody Stevens' horse, Believe It. The only great race the only race that impressed me was in the Wood, where he took him back and made 1 shot with him, and I think he'll do the same thing today.
The Post Parade. Number 1 horse, the horse with cheap speed, may have an early lead. Raymond Earl, the jockey Robert Baird, 57 years of age, a grandfather of 4 children, had his best shot in 56 aboard Pintor Lee. Smiley Adams, the trainer, he's trained such as Dust Commander and Run Dusty Run. The number 2 horse, one of the 2 favored horses. We've talked about him throughout the telecast. Affirmed. Mr. and Mrs. Lewis Wolfson, the owners. The Wonder Boy, the kid, Steve Cawthon, aboard. The horse that's been called a dream horse, a wonder horse, by the young jockey, who seems to respond to any kind of race, any kind of condition. The number 3 horse, Aesop's Foibles, Jerry Frankel's horse. Young Chris McCarron, the jockey, and a good one. The winner of the Louisiana Derby, the Arkansas Derby, but he's done little since then, though finishing 2nd in the Stepping Stone. Special honor, the number 4 horse, Paul Nicolo, the jockey. Ed McCann, the trainer, says it's a special honor just to be here, and that's about the size of it for that horse. The number 5 horse is Hoist the Silver. Richard DePass, a hot jockey here at Churchill Downs, aboard, and it's owned by 4 men from the Pacific Northwest. All resemblance to Seattle Slew stops there. The number 6 horse is the gray one, Chief of Dixieland. Tony Reaney up. Jake the Rake, Moriali, the trainer. He's entertaining, talks a lot, more entertaining than the horse figures to be. And Derby Creek Road, the outside possibility. Mr. and Mrs. Phillips own Derby Creek Road. It's bred for distance. Dom Grunfield, a great veteran jockey, aboard. The number 8 horse is Dr. Valeri. Rene Riera Jr., the jockey. Won the Tropical Park Derby, has done nothing since then. Rates the current odds. Believe It, the winner of the Wood Memorial. The winner of the Kentucky Oaks yesterday, Eddie Maple, aboard it, seeking to make it a double. Believe It, at a good price for a horse of quality. Woody Stevens, of course, the trainer. Aladar, the favorite, with the whipping, driving, slashing rider, Jorge Velasquez, seeking his first Derby win. And the outside hole goes to the unbeaten Sensitive Prince, with another fine lad aboard, Mickey Solomon, and everybody wondering if Alan Jerkins can pull it off. So there they are, the 11 entrants in this, the 104th running of the Kentucky Derby. We'll be back for the running of the great race here at Churchill Downs in just 1 moment.
But what about Cawthon? He won more than $6 million in purses last year, but this is still his first Kentucky Derby, and the Kentucky Derby is something special. Well, Howard talked to Steve Cawthon, and this was the result.
Stevie, in the Hollywood Derby, the distance 1 1/8. To hold off Think Snow, you hit Affirmed 4 times hard. Or so it seemed. and thus doubts were raised. That distance, 1 1/8 miles, the Derby distance, 1 1/4 miles, as to Affirmed's ability to go the Derby distance. What have you got to say about that?
Well, Affirmed is a horse that when he gets to the lead, he tends to relax. He waits on horses. He doesn't extend himself when there's no competition. And in his past couple races, he's been such the best that he's found himself by himself on the lead. And once he makes the lead, he just keeps, he never opens up really like some horses do. And that's why he doesn't ever win impressively. But believe me, if he was challenged, he'll run right to the wire with anybody.
Okay, you come back home here, Churchill Downs, first place you ever wanted to ride. Sought mounts here, couldn't get them. It's your home neighborhood, the greatest thoroughbred race in America. 130,000 people and more watching you. You're the wonder boy of racing. Tell me your inner feelings about riding in your first Derby.
Well, it's good to come back. This is the most prestigious race in America. But I'm going to try to ride the best race that I can. I'm going to ride this race just like any other race, trying to win. And hopefully I'll get lucky and have a little racing luck, and I'll do that.
Well, the glory of winning the Derby eclipses all the monetary rewards, but the money is substantial all the same. A total purse of $239,400 with first prize money of $186,900, then $30,000 for second, $15,000 for third, and $7,500 for fourth. Of course, as we said, let's take another look at the odds now. You still see Raymond Earl being held at 99-1 or better. Then Affirmed 9-5, the second favorite in the betting still. Then Aesop's Foibles, winner of the Arkansas and Louisiana Derbies, 45-1. 99 or better, those other three horses you saw. Then Darby Creek Road, something of a long shot, but he's getting some support. Dr. Valeri at 90-1 still. Then there you see Believe It, still the fourth favorite, 7-1 now. Alidar still at 6-5. And you saw Sensitive Prince at 9-2. So the favorites are still in this order: Alidar and Affirmed, Sensitive Prince, and Believe It. And then the other 7 horses. A field of 11 altogether. The track is lightning fast. The weather is clear. The temperature is 65. The conditions couldn't be better. The track and race record, 159 2/5, was set by the great Secretariat. He is the only colt ever to have won the Derby in less than 2 minutes. Could it happen again today? It certainly could, because this, as we've said so many times, is a field of quality 3-year-olds. Here's another wide view of this crowd of 130,000. I think we've been joined here in Winter Circle area by Howard and Eddie. You all suited up, Howard?
It was a quick trip over, I'll tell you that. This may be the biggest crowd in the history of the Derby, though, as you know, we won't have the official attendances till after the race.
So, Eddie, you get some butterflies even sympathetically for the other guys?
Just looking at it gives me a thrill. This is it. This is the epitome of racing.
Just a fantastic day. We've said it so many times, but don't you think, Howard, I said earlier that this is our 4th Derby for ABC here, and the others were great, but this has that extra special tension.
Well, that's been stated by the press consistently, and they've been right about that. From the very beginning, the development of the 4 horses, not just the 2, but the 4. The uncertainty as to Sensitive Prince's ability to face horses of this caliber. The great performance of Believe It in the Wood, and of course, Alidar and Affirmed with the documented record. So we're about ready, Jim.
Yes, into the number 1 hole went 57-year-old Bobby Baird on Raymond Earl, and next to him, right next to him, is Stevie Cawthon at age 18. Number 3 horse going in, Aesop's Foibles. Jerry Frankel owns him. Number 4 there is Special Honor, the longest shot in the field. Somebody said in the Bluegrass Stakes they had to send out a search party for him to bring him home. Number 5 is Hoist the Silver. Richard DePass is the jockey there. Number 6, Chief of Dixieland. Number 7, Darby Creek Road. Then we have Dr. Valeri. And then all the way on the outside, 3 of the favorites, Believe It, Alidar, and Sensitive Prince. Calling the race for us, the track announcer at Santa Anita and at the Meadowlands, one of the best in the business, Dave Johnson. All right, Dave.
Alidar, the favorite, moves into line, and the last horse, Sensitive Prince, is also behind the gate. Alidar at 6-5, the favorite in this big crowd this afternoon. The last horse, Sensitive Prince, being taken by one of the assistant starters moving in, but Alidar seems to be acting up just a bit in post position number 10. Aladar is acting up with his 104th run for the Roses. One of the other assistant starters moves in again, and now Sensitive Prince gets into line. They're all ready, and they're on. And on the inside, there goes Raymond Earl, and Affirmed is right there and challenging between horses. Out in the middle of the track, that's Aesop's Foibles into the third spot. Sensitive Prince in the middle of the racetrack moves up as they passes for the first time. It's Raymond Earl now showing the way by a length and 3/4. Affirmed is second from between horses, and there goes Sensitive Prince inching up on the outside. A gap of 2.5 lengths. It's Believe It racing fourth. Aesop's Fables is fifth. Chief of Dixieland tucked in on the inside is sixth at this point by 2 lengths. Then Darby Creek Road, followed on the inside by Hoist the Silver. Aladar on the extreme outside is next. Then Special Honor racing 10th, and Dr. Valeria is 11th as they move on to the backstretch. And on the outside, there goes Sensitive Prince taking command as Raymond Earl drops back second by 4, and Affirmed is third at this point. The first quarter in 22 3/5 seconds, and the half in 45 3. And down the backstretch, Sensitive Prince now enjoys a 2.5 length advantage. Raymond Earl is second by 3. Affirmed is third by a length and 1/4. Along the inside, Aesop's Foibles is racing fourth. On the outside, that's Believe It, now fifth. Gap of 2.5 lengths, and Chief of Dixieland is sixth. Darby Creek Road is 7th. Aladar now on the outside gains ground in 8th position as they round the far turn. 3/8 of a mile to go in this Kentucky Derby. It's Sensitive Prince, and up on the outside, there goes Affirmed with a rush. Affirmed takes command by a head. Sensitive Prince is second, and Believe It moves quickly to the leaders as the field turns for home. Coming to the quarter pole, Affirmed on the inside, Believe It on the outside, Believe It on the outside, Affirmed toward the rail, and down the stretch they come. Affirmed on the inside takes command again. Believe It is second. Aladar gains ground third. They're in the final furlong. It's Affirmed with Stevie Cawthon showing the way by 2.5. Believe It with Ed Maple is next, and on the outside, Aladar is third. But it's going to be Affirmed. Affirmed with Steve Cawthon is going to win this 104th running of the Kentucky Derby. Aladar is second. Believe It third. Gap of 4 lengths, followed by Darby Creek Road, Aesop's Fable, and the rest. Well, it was Affirmed stalking the early pace and quickly moving to command and never letting it go. Final time, 2 minutes, 1 1/5 seconds. Affirmed wins the Kentucky Derby. Back to the winner's circle, Jim McKay.
All right, Dave, thank you very much. The winner again, and it's unofficial still, is Affirmed. A beautiful 3-year-old from the Harbor View farm of Lewis E. Wolfson, whose wife is the daughter of Hirsch Jacobs, one of the great trainers of the American turf, who, however, never won the Derby, and now his daughter's horse has done it. Trained by Las Barrera, who 2 years ago sent Bold Forbes out to upset Honest Pleasure. Steve Cawthon, the winning jockey in his very first Kentucky Derby at the age of 18, and of course he was born and raised in a little town called Walton, Kentucky, not too far from Louisville. The race developed very much as everybody thought it would. I think, as you saw, Aladar was coming and coming so fast at the wire. Affirmed could have been tiring just a little bit, but he made it. Third place unofficially, Believe It. So that's the way it ended up. There's more to the story, and we'll be back. Derby for 1978 is over, and there's the winning jockey at age 18, Steve Cawthon, born and raised in Walton, Kentucky, has returned to ride Affirmed, wearing number 2 to victory in the Kentucky Derby, owned by the Harbor View farm, which is owned by Lewis Wolfson, and his wife, the daughter of the former great trainer, Hirsch Jacobs.
All right, there are the prices, Eddie, by the way. $560 for the win, $280 for the place, and $260 for the show. So, Aladar is $260 and $240, and Believe It is $280. So there are the official prices now for the ceremonies, and Jim McKay.
All right, Howard, thank you very much. I'm standing with Lynn Stone, the president of Churchill Downs. Congratulations on a magnificent derby, well organized, well run, Lynn. We have the governor of the state of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, Julian Carroll here, Mr. and Mrs. Wolfson, Stevie Cawthon, Las Barrera. Looks like the cast is assembled.
Well, it was a great day. We want to thank the weatherman for cooperating. We want to welcome everyone here. It was a great race and a great derby. And it's my pleasure to introduce the Honorable Julian Carroll, the Governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
Okay, Governor, I'll be your mic holder.
Well, thank you very much, Jim. You know, it's always a pleasure for the governor to come to this circle at the greatest sports event in America, and particularly on an occasion with thousands of visitors that have joined us, of course, by television as well as radio, but thousands of them in person to see the greatest horse race in the world. And to Affirmed, we say congratulations. And to Pat and Louis Wolfson, first of all, to the Honors Trophy.
There it is.
Right here, Pat. You and this belongs to Pat and Louis. Congratulations on a great victory for Affirmed.
Mr. Wolfson, the last 3 Derby winners, I remember, were purchased horses. This is a homebred. You bred them in Florida, didn't you?
Yes, a homebred. I'm very happy for them, and I'm happy to know entries come out of this race with jockeys and the horses.
Mrs. Wolfson, I note this as an extra special meaning to you. Your dad, one of the great trainers in history, never won this one, and now you have.
Yes, we're very delighted.
Stevie, again, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
That's the biggest smile I've seen in this guy, and well-deserved.
Well, now
Laz
to Laz Pereira. Where's Laz?
Laz is right here.
Laz, to a great trainer. Congratulations again, Laz. Seemed like I've been in the circle with you before.
And I hope I'll be with you a lot of years more. I want to say thank you to everybody, especially to all American and Latin Americans that have been watching television. And my heart going to my grandson Mickey in Mexico City. Mickey, God bless you.
And now, Jim, to the pride of Kentucky, Steve Calton. Steve, congratulations.
It's the first bobble you've made since you started racing, knocked over the trophy.
Right. Well, I'd just like to say thanks so much to the Wolfsons, to trainer Les. He's a great, and it's great to be associated with him. And thanks to my parents, my family, they all came to see me today, and they're here with me. And it's a tremendous feeling. I didn't realize how good it feels until after the race, but it's something else.